Everybody better hope Fabiano Caruana has insurance on his hotel room after what we are about to look at. He is enjoined to lead in this tournament, the US Chess Championship, with Wesley So, his opponent, and Hans Niemann. Hans Niemann just drew Levon Aronian. It is Wesley So versus Fabi. Fabi has mate on the board in this game, and he throws a generational fumble. Would have been one of his best games ever. Let's get into it. Knight to f3. So we get a Reti, not like are you ready, R-E-T-I, if you want to study it, by Fabi. Passing the ball back into black's court. Which pawn are you going to push? And yesterday he played the caro. Today he played the Reti. He's thrown everything at his opponents to win, and he's really playing great fighting chess this tournament. So we get an English opening. Wesley gains space in the center, and that's kind of how these Englishes go, right? Black gets a space advantage. That's a good thing. But white argues that he's happier with his light squared bishop than black is with his dark squared bishop, because a lot of the time it gets fianchettoed and it aims at a pawn wall. Vice versa, white's does not aim at a pawn wall. We get a rarer case here where the bishop comes to c5, so the knight then comes to b3 to kick the bishop back. But again, the bishop is just not a fantastic bishop. It just wanted to develop so that he could get castled, and that he did. You really got to feel for Fabi, right? He's always shadowed by Magnus. I don't think people understand how good of a player Fabi is. Of course, he wins everything, but he is so good at classical chess, it's ridiculous. He just has no ice in his veins. Whether it be the World Championship, the candidates, the Tata Steel, the qualifier, any qualifying tournament, he's in a winning position and he just throws. No ice. It's very unfortunate. And this is coming from someone who really likes Fabi as a chess player. Pawn c3, breaking. Black would rather keep this pawn here, solidify it, and argue white has a weak base to his pawn chain. But again, the same argument holds. Pawn to a4, blockading the queen side. b4 is not an outpost, and we get bishop to b4. Fabi offers a bishop trade, and you could tell Wesley is out of theory because he's spending a lot of time. Bishop to f5, aiming at the weakened pawn. Queen to c2, connecting the rooks, defending the weakened pawn. Wesley connects his own rooks. So you see, we get a position. It's completely balanced, except one guy's up 30 minutes on the clock, and that is Fabi. By the way, pawn to h3, this soft and fianchettoed, it's kind of like Vienna-like. It's not to stop something from going to g4. It's more so to go g4 when the time is ample, when the time is right. The time is right. Find the next move. Pawn c5. This is great chess. This is a clearance. Not even a clearance sacrifice because you're keeping the pawn. It's a clearance tempo gainer. You clear c4, a critical square, and you boot the queen back. So as you can see, black's position is very solid, but his pieces are all in the back rank. He would much rather have a knight here on b4, right? Imagine a knight and bishop prior connection on d3. This bishop, okay, it stops anything from coming to e1, but it's also kind of locked there now with this pawn on c5. We get rook to c8, passivity, right? Defending against this bishop here on f4. And we get rook to c1, shuffling, pawn h5. Apparently, the engine, whose opinion no one cares about, no one likes, wanted black to play pawn to b6. It's a pretty hard move to play, I would say, especially after rook to c1. So he plays the human h5, allowing Fabi to gain even more space. The knight jumps in with a tempo gain. This is what he wanted. And then he plays b6, but why is it a mistake now? Before is the best move, now it's a mistake. That's chess, right? It's always position specific. Well, this pawn used to be on g4. Now it's on g5. And since it's on g5, if my calculations are correct, it can go to g6. This is a clearance sacrifice. This is a very nice move. If pawn takes g6, queen to c4 pins the knight and wins the knight. So black cannot take. He gets out of said pin. We get a trade and knight to g5. You guys know these outposted knights do wonders around the king. You know, the Greek gifts, all these smothers mate, all those tactics you solve, maybe you get in games. And this knight is not going anywhere because the h-pawn is overextended and there is no f-pawn, hence the term outpost. King to h8. This is the move that saved Wesley So the game, believe it or not. In hindsight, right? Hindsight is 2020. Because had he not played this move, Fabi would have played queen to c4 here. tempo gaining, and then figured it out. Instead, he took and then went queen c4, which is suspicious because the c file, I can't believe you really wanted open. But he did, and he's still winning. So sure. Do you trade queens? No, not if you're the aggressor. So you leave queens on the board. We got queen to b7. This game's wrapping up. This game is wrapping up. We get a sacrifice. We got some brilliancies incoming. What's the brilliancy here? Try to find the next 2 brilliancies in a row, because I'm not going to say they're forcing, but you got to find the idea. Also, thank you guys so much for the support. I've never gotten the support, the likes, engagement, comments from yesterday. That was crazy. You know the meme? It's like when it's like a play on words. It's like when I experience my first bit of wealth or good stuff happening in life, I'm gonna switch up on my day ones, forget who was ever there for me. It's a funny meme, you know. You know what I'm saying? It's a pretty funny meme. Skits out of the way. Bishop to d5, e5. I was just trying to give you some time. I was buying you time to solve it. Did you find it? It blunders a knight. But remember, if it's a blunder, that's a good move. That's called a sacrifice. Rook h6, exploiting the pin, which was the point of bishop to e5. Switching up on your day ones. King to g8. Rook to h7. All right. Tell me, if you had this position against Magnus, do you think you would win? I think you would win in this position against Magnus. That's how it's +8. There's Black has no moves except for that. But he still has no moves. This knight on g5 is a tank. You take with check. And now you have checkmate. You actually have checkmate in 9 moves here. You just have to put your queen on the 8th rank. And what is so tragic is they played move 40. So Fabi has 36 minutes on the clock now because he gained 30. And instead of taking his time, he plays the next 2 moves instantly. And the game is equal. He spent 17 seconds on this move. And it was a blunder, a mistake. You play queen here, and they cannot stop checkmate. The only way they stop checkmate is knight takes h4, but you go bishop to f6, and there is no way to stop queen h8 mate. That is crazy. Fabi is not going to sleep tonight. Fabi is going into the game against Hans Niemann after this game. If there's ever a moment for Hans to strike and take the lead, it will be that time. Who do you guys want to win? He goes queen to f6. Why did the queen need to go to the 8th? Right, this threatens the same assortment of mates, except it doesn't cover the 8th, so Black's queen can get back. White's still winning. He's going to need to grind this one down. And again, he thinks for 4 seconds and takes the pawn. And this is a draw. This is a draw. You're not going to beat someone like Wesley twice. He finds the correct move order, offering the queen trade, winning the pawn. And why is this endgame not winning? Because you are up a pawn with the knight. This endgame is not winning because in order to feel the queenside majority, you're going to need to travel over there with your king and knight. And in that time, this pawn, unfortunately, is blockaded on a dark square. If it was blockaded on a light square, it could be a different color. But he's going to scoop this. The pawn is going to run. Knights are very bad at stopping past pawns. So the king isn't going to need to stay here. And that's why you can't trade queens. Can you go? You can even go queen e5 here, right? That's not a blunder of a queen because that's a fork. So that's cool. But again, a draw is a draw. Fabi in disbelief. His body language was not great. Whose would be? No ice. It's so unfortunate. But knight to c6. They shuffle. They shuffle in disbelief. And Wesley So escapes with a draw, which means we have a 3-way tie going into the next round. 2 of the leaders just faced. 2 of the leaders will face in the next round, Hans and Fabi. I believe Wesley is playing one of those prodigies. Forget their name. But thank you guys as always for watching. Stay tuned for tomorrow if you want. If not, Vejibre. Get out of here. See you tomorrow. Peace.